Super Bowl. Biggest spectacle in sports, maybe the biggest spectacle in the world. Every year, from all over the world, over 100,000 people flock to whatever city happens to be hosting the big game that year. Most of these pilgrims are headed to the sports mecca to celebrate the world's biggest sporting event. But there are others who come to that city for other reasons, darker reasons. Underage prostitution in the form of human trafficking. Girls from all over the world, many of them don't know they're taking part in the world's second biggest criminal enterprise. Some of them are literally driven in on cattle trucks like animals.
Turns, gives to Rice. Rice runs into a wall, doesn't get there. Smothered by the 49ers.
For most of us growing up, watching the Super Bowl was like sort of a national unofficial holiday. My daughter was old enough. We started watching football together. I actually had to con her into it by telling her I'd buy her a jersey. I would explain to her the things that were going on in the game. I'll never forget the moment that she was born. I felt my whole life change. Truth is, I really didn't want a daughter. I wanted another boy. But when my daughter was born, somehow everything changed inside of me. I knew things were going to be difficult. I knew that someday she was going to be a teenager, and that would be all the same teenager stuff that everybody deals with. I'd do anything to keep her safe. I knew about the stuff that can happen to girls like her. I've seen the abuse, I've seen the tears. Thousands of students that I've personally talked to and what they've been through, and I just said to myself, that is never going to happen to my daughter. After months of planning and hundreds of phone calls and hundreds of emails, back and forth traded around, it was almost surreal arriving in New Orleans. When we realized what was happening at the Super Bowl and other big events like that every year, joined a team of people and we said, you know what, we've got to get there. We've got to hit the streets, we've got to hit the schools, we've got to do what we can to get the word out, because those are somebody's daughters too, just like mine. When I see the things that are going on in a city like this, and it's every year no matter where the Super Bowl is, I don't know, it really kind of makes you think, makes you kind of wonder if we celebrate the wrong things.
That's her spitting up. She goes behind a bush after that and just absolutely throws up. And then he comes over there, he slaps her around and makes her get back out there and get another car date. She has about 15 car dates this night. There's nothing about love. There's nothing about affection there, right? It's just all about power and control. Our approach is a 4-phase approach. Phase 1 is prevention, education, and awareness. Phase 2, missing child outreach. 3 is online monitoring, and then street outreach. Prevention and awareness is 2 major organizations that have come together, Free International and Student Reach. And these school assemblies are really targeted to those at-risk youth, and we're already starting to get feedback from some of those youth. We've already got one key lead yesterday from one of the school assemblies that's already been turned over to law enforcement. But we definitely see a run-up of ads. This was in Dallas. You can see December 26th of 2010, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about 70, 75 ads. And then the day of the Super Bowl, well over 300 ads. But we are going through all of the online ads and culling those ads, drilling down as deep as we can to corroborate that we think that this is a minor. It's pretty simple. Again, you know, there's nothing secret squirrel about this or super spy about this. We drive up, there's a hotel there. Before you ever get out, we ask you just to kind of drive through the parking lot, take a good look, pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, know what's out there. Sometimes the pimps and traffickers will literally sit in the car while the girls are on the date. They'll come down to the lobbies and they'll check out the customers before the customers go up to the room. While the customer's in the room, they'll either sit in the lobby or they'll wait out in their cars. always good to be aware of what's sitting in a car, right? And then any activity that you may see around massage parlors, truck stops, and strip clubs.
Sex trafficking?
Yeah, the FBI says
During the Super Bowl. I wish I knew about that. No, I really don't.
We ask you guys a few questions.
No.
I just asked if you saw this missing girl.
Get away with me.
Why? What's the problem?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to answer that. I've never knew that there was underground women coming here during these type of events. You know, being that there's so many already women that are out here that may be available, but
He's uncomfortable with this.
Hey, well,
but I've never heard of it before, and I mean, it's sad to hear that.
You know, numbers are tough no matter how you look at it. You know, what we do know, if we're dealing with a Super Bowl or a big event, is an arena that's created that pimps who are opportunistic can take advantage of. You know, so a city like New Orleans or any Super Bowl for that matter, you have people coming from around the world, coming in with lots of money in their pockets and a whole week of parties, and because of that, you create a nice arena for the girls to take advantage of the guys when they come out of the place, out of the bars or whatever at night.
So we've been out here 2 nights before the Super Bowl, walking the streets after a week of schools. One thing that I couldn't help get out of my thought pattern was the fact that there's so much activity taking place. People going about their way, the beads are flinging off the balconies, and the parties are at full blast, and the bands are playing. I just kept thinking, you know, does anybody realize there's girls, these girls are missing? Does anybody have just a moment to listen? And, you know, I think about, in fact, how the party's taking place up here, but somewhere there's hurt and there's pain, and it's just hard to walk. It's hard to enjoy the party when you know what's taking place. It's hard to look around and see everything that's going on, and everybody seems to be in this celebratory mood. But it's hard to get there when you know what's taking place, what the truth is. So, out here on the streets tonight, you know, there are people that care. When we put the card in their hand and we ask them to keep their eyes open and be aware, some of them are shocked that this is actually taking place. And others are, you can see the compassion in their eyes when they realize that, you know, there's a human being that's been stolen, been taken out of a wonderful environment, or maybe an environment that we don't understand or don't know, and they're lost.
It just becomes like any business. You know, you see people selling knockoff t-shirts on the street because there's a lot of people, a lot of money in their pockets, and they want to experience whatever that city is to the fullest. And so whatever the number may be, it's significant. It's the biggest trafficking event in our country because it's the biggest event in our country. The most money flows into it, and where there's money, you're going to find this happening.
Been working. There's already been 8 rescues and 3 pimps arrested. 5 of those have to do with the people that are here that got tips to those people, if I understand it correctly. For those of you that were there, one tip came out of a school that we were in this week. We don't know if that led to a rescue or arrest, because they don't always say those kinds of things. But that's exciting. I guess for me what's more exciting is thinking about the students whose eyes were open and the chance that we have to change the culture at a school.
Today we're going to talk about some things that stink, some things that are smelling up our schools, our communities, the world we live in. And I got to tell you something today, that not a lot of people like to talk about those kinds of things, but we're going to get in there and dig it up because something smells and it's time to deal with it.
You see, there was a young 14-year-old girl. They were literally pimping her out of her own house. They were selling her on the street at night, getting her back to her own home in time for her to take a shower and get back to school. As we talked to this young lady, she said, listen, my friends knew the trouble I was in. Some of my teachers knew the trouble I was in, but nobody was willing to say anything. If somebody would have just been brave enough to say something, maybe I wouldn't be in the hell that I am in right now. You see, history begins today. There's enough hurt and there's enough pain in this world. That's not hard to find. But when you come into this place, when you come into this school, you start caring for one another. You start having each other's back.
I'm gonna tell people to say something. Like, not be a loner or not keep it inside and hurting themselves. Tell people to to speak out.
Well, I'm just inspired to help people. Like, just help people who are molested, who are not cared for right now.
That you do not take advantage for others, and you should stand up for each other.
It's inspiring for people to come down here and tell us that. Because a lot of kids committed suicide last year in several schools.
If you see something, you have to tell somebody, tell an adult or something like that. Because there's a lot of things these days that are just crazy.
I would really talk to people, encourage them. I would just encourage them.
I would talk to people. I would tell adults about what was happening, and to encourage people to tell them stop doing this. It's not right.
I believe this is something that needs to be shared, not just with McMain, of course, with all the schools, because all young people need to be exposed to the fact that no matter what you're going through, no matter who you come across that's negative toward you, that there is somebody who loves you, there is somebody who cares.
What helps is somebody that's willing, when they see something that's not right, to step up and say something. When they hear somebody that's getting involved in things that they should never get involved in, say something.
All these things that were bottled up inside me started to come out. They were just screaming to be released and screaming to be heard. And I needed healing and I needed help. I told 3 different people what had happened. They started seeing the depression in me, anorexia, different things like that.
Silence isn't golden. Silence is a weapon of evil.
Say something.
So, say something. Talking to you, audience, say something.
Say something.
So this is a mechanism to let them know there's something else that you can do, something else you can rely on, and another source of your strength.
Well, ashamedly, I didn't even know what human trafficking meant until 2011. And whenever we started talking about this, I was concerned whether our principals would be too fearful to be able to do it. And in some cases they were, because of the suburban nature. They were fearful that their clientele, specifically the parents, there would be too much backlash. But our principals have just been blown away with students coming forward and actually calling the hotline and having girls rescued from school assemblies that we've done this week. And we're just blown away with the long-term need that has been exposed, and the opportunity we're going to have to serve our faculty as well by giving them resources to identify these students that are at risk.
After a long Super Bowl drought, my favorite team, San Francisco 49ers, was back in it. But as I sat there, it just felt numb. I didn't care that much about the game. None of us could really cheer that hard. I sat there in a surreal moment watching the game. And then all of a sudden, it happened.
All of the lights on the 49ers side of the Superdome are out. You can only imagine the scramble officials are going through.
We were in stunned silence too. But then all of a sudden it hit me that life outside the dome, for once, was like life inside the dome. There was group of people living in the dark and a group of people living in the light.
It stopped on 13:22 for like 5 seconds.
Hey, I'm reminded of that Motown song. There ain't no mountain high enough, and there ain't no valley low enough, and there is nothing that's gonna keep us from winning this championship. Not this and not nothing. We're gonna win this game no matter how long it takes.
Like to think that the girls that we talk to in school after school after school by the tens of thousands that may never step into that lifestyle because they know what's going on might be the greatest thing that we accomplish. But one thing we know for sure, so many girls left out there. For every one we rescue, there's dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands more that no one's even looking for. That's when we realized the mission's not over. And yeah, we'll be there next year.